Hello, my name is Ron Dorn. I'm a professor of physical geography at Arizona State University, and the purpose of this presentation is to show you the microclimates of the Grand Canyon game, get you familiar with what's involved in the game, with an assumption that you've never played this game or even played any of these sorts of video game labs before. So I'll start sharing the screen. And I'll assume that you have purchased the game and that you've successfully downloaded it to your computer. If you were unable to download it or purchase it, there's another page on Canvas for each of these topics to help you with it. You should also contact your instructor and either ask questions or set up a Zoom tutorial meeting to help you walk through these steps. So I've opened up the game and now I can interact with it. I can read the license information, the end user's license agreement, the credits on everything that went into the game and how it was built, or I can just start the game. So I'm pushing the start button and it will take a while to build up this game. The Hawaii game takes a long time to build, but this is fairly fast. So the first thing to point out, it took me a while to learn how to do, which was the importance of the escape button. By hitting the escape on the keyboard, it takes me into the mode of being able to manipulate the different pieces of information in the menu. This little arrow here opens up the menu for settings. So for example, the game opened up not using my full screen, but I'm going to enable a full screen view here so you can see it in a bigger mode. And I'm going to keep it this way. If I put it back in game mode by hitting escape, another thing that took me a while to use with great frustration was the mouse movement changes the camera position. By moving the mouse forward and backwards, I don't want to make you sick or anything, I changed the camera view, and the really scroll tool or the fingers on your trackpad will change the camera angle to allow you to look back or look in. The trackpads don't work so well. You might want to get an external mouse and plug it in or use a Bluetooth. You can also use a game controller. I don't have a game controller. I'm 62 years old. I don't play video games. So to orient you here, the avatar's location is identified in this inset map. So this is an inset map of the Grand Canyon, and there are different ways you can look at the inset map. There is a Landsat scene where you can see the Grand Canyon, where the Colorado River makes a big giant loop. It heads north to south, and then it heads east to west, the Colorado River flowing through the Grand Canyon. There is a view of the leaf, or what's called the NDVI, that gives you the amount of biomass, where the dark green on the north rim is high forest like spruce and fir trees. The medium green are pine trees, and the really lightish colored green is the biomass of juniper type trees. When you get into the browns, you get into the more desert or scrub vegetation, dark browns being things like sagebrush, and the lighter browns being things like creosote bush or really hardcore deserts. You can also see the summertime temperatures in the inset map or the wintertime temperatures on the inset map. You can do the same thing here for the main view, where you can look at winter, summer, and then the biomass views. The fast travel menu have stations of different meteorological or climate stations around the Grand Canyon. So for example, I'm going to jump to the North Rim or the North Kaibab Station. And this is in Bright Angel Canyon. In the inset map, you can see the straight line of a fault of Bright Angel Canyon here. And the North Kaibab is on the north side, but not quite all the way up to the North Rim. So you're in the desert vegetation. So now I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to make the avatar jump up and down by hitting the space bar on the keyboard, And I'm going to use the arrows in my keyboard to make the avatar move up the Bright Angel Canyon. And I'm beginning to move into the lower tree line. So one of the aspects of this lab is you can study the relationship between climate, temperature, and the lowest elevation of the trees called the tree line. So down here, you're beginning to get pockets of juniper trees that are lining the inside of the canyon where there's a little bit more moisture. And as you move up towards the north rim, you're moving towards the main tree line. And again, the lightest colored is juniper, a little bit darker would be pine trees, and the dark green would be spruce, fir, much more alpine vegetation. How you interpret the temperatures right now is by a key. So the lab has you do kind of a color match between the temperature and the color that you see. So if you're looking at winter temperatures, you're going to have to, in the menu mode, click on the winter temperature, click off the summer, and you can interpret the coldness. Notice that there's different sides of the canyon that have different temperatures. The temperature data comes from Landsat, and Landsat's acquired at 10 a.m. in the morning. So the temperature data you get for the surfaces are going to be biased towards facing the east. So let me give you a little bit of a compass lesson here. You're in this canyon here, and the outer ring of the compass shows you the direction that the camera angle is facing. So right now the camera angle is facing to the north, looking at the north rim that's cold of the Grand Canyon. And sorry for spinning it around here. The orientation of the Bright Angel Canyon, what I want to do is I want to find a ridge line that is east-west facing. So let me see if you can see my arrow here. This ridge line here is basically oriented so that it's going east to west or west to east. And so on the north facing side of these slopes, you get cold temperatures. And now I'm going to try and move the avatar over a little bit. And on the south facing side of these slopes, because the data were acquired in winter time where the sun rises in the east and it's more in towards the southern part of the side. On this, especially the southeast facing slopes where the sun angle is coming in at 10 a.m. in the morning, the slopes are warmer. If I were to shift to summer temperatures, you'd see a similar pattern, but the temperature change is a lot more. So notice that the southeast facing slope, so here's the compass angle, these slopes that are the reddish, the warmest ones, are facing to the southeast, and these slopes that are facing to the northwest are the coolest because the sun is hanging out of the southeast part of the sky. I've probably gone in too much to the details of the lab. I hope you've enjoyed this orientation to the different aspects of the lab. There's one other thing I want to point out about fast travel, or actually two other things. You can fast travel to a location simply by clicking on it in the Inset Map. So let's say I want to jump way up here to the northeast corner of the game board. I click on the location, notice it changes the latitude and longitude, then I click on fast travel and I jump to the edge of the game board. So if I do fast travel again, I'm zooming in to the northeast edge of the game bar, and I'll show you fast travel by the helicopter mode, which is a cool way to go. So I'm going to change the airspeed, and I'm going to click this button for scale speed. So I'm now going to click another location where I'm going to fly to in this inset map here, or I could simply enter 36.38, or simply enter longitude, 111.88. And if I click Airlift, I'm now out of gameplay mode, and I can click on the NDVI or desert vegetation or the winter temperatures here. I can also scroll in with my mouse to have a different view. The helicopter is lifting up the avatar and then is traveling between locations. So this gives you a way to literally fly over the physical geography, whether it's the winter temperatures, the summer temperatures, or the biomass. It's a unique way to interact with physical geography data that we think is far more interesting and far more enlightening, and the best way to learn physical geography in a lab science course. I hope you enjoy playing the game and interacting with it. Um, if you have any questions, make sure if you have any questions, make sure that you contact your instructor right away. Don't try and do it on your own. Set up a Zoom appointment and end your frustration and get help.